So if you've clicked on this video, then you're finally ready to transform your trading. And what do I mean by transform your trading? It means to pull consistent and predictable money out of the markets, be able to quit your job with your trading income, and put systems in place where trading can be a legitimate income for you that can scale over time. There are proven steps to achieving this that I'll share with you in this video, and each of these steps is absolutely essential for success in trading. If you're missing one of these pieces, then you're missing a piece of the overall puzzle. I see a lot of traders who have part of the game worked out, but they haven't worked out every single piece of the puzzle, and so they're still continuing to struggle. When I really implemented all of these steps that I'm about to share with you, that's when I really started to find success in my own personal trading. Alright, so the first step that we're going to talk about is clarity of rules and trading plan. If you are not clear on exactly what your plan is and exactly what your rules are, then it's extremely hard to be successful. If you're kind of willy-nilly entering trades, oh, maybe I'll get in here this day, maybe I'll get in here this day. If you have all these different strategies you're working with, oh, this looks like an opening range break, this looks like a liquidity sweep, and you're not actually clear on, okay, what is my exact strategy? What is my exact setup? And what are my exact rules and plan? The more clear you become, the easier it is to stay disciplined, because it's very hard to stay disciplined on something if you don't even know exactly what you're doing. And your trading plan goes deeper than just your strategy. It's not only entry and exit rules, it's also how are you going to manage yourself. This includes identifying your biggest triggers while you're trading. It could be if price stops you out and then goes in your direction heavily, this makes you extremely tilted, this makes you extremely frustrated. If you've noticed this in yourself, you need to put plans in place to deal with exactly that situation as it arises. And to do this, you need a self-management plan. So what does a self-management plan look like? It would be, not only is this my plan to enter here, exit here when I see this in the market, but it's also my plan that after one single loss, I walk away from the screen. I would honestly say most traders, especially if you're new, do best with only taking one loss per day. And I know that's hard because you want to stay and continue to trade, but that one loss usually makes people frustrated and tilted. This is when the symptoms of emotional overwhelm start to show up. So you need a self-management plan of, if this happens, then I do this. It needs to be very clear, written out. And so you know, your plan is so clear that if you go off the plan, you know exactly what you're doing wrong. You're like, oh look, I wrote this down, this is what I'm supposed to do. If price stops me out and it goes in my direction, it makes me very angry. And therefore, I've told myself, if this happens, I need to walk away and stop trading for the entire day. If you continue to trade after this happens, and you have wrote down as one of your rules that you're not supposed to, you now know that you are heading off track. But if you have not taken the time to sit down and write this entire self-management plan out along with your actual trading plan, then it's very hard to course correct and it's very hard to know where you're going off path because you're just making all these random mistakes and you don't even clearly know exactly what your mistakes are. And your self-management plan includes your life management plan. What are you eating day to day? When are you waking up? What are you doing with your free time? Are you getting involved in drama? Are you stressed? What does your financial situation look like outside of trading? Your life directly correlates with your trading results. If you are a mess outside the charts, filled with noise and stress and unhealthy food and drinking and all kinds of random stuff, smoking weed, then you're going to show up to the charts and you're not going to be your best self. So your entire trading plan includes, you need a self-management plan. What am I going to do in this situation in my trading to prevent you from going into tilt, to prevent you from blowing accounts? Then you need an exact trade management plan. This is exactly, clearly what I'm looking for. Not willy-nilly just taking stuff because it looks cool. And then a life management plan. What are the habits I'm going to put in place in my daily life? Like waking up before the market session, meditating, making a nice clean breakfast, saying no to going out and drinking on Sundays because I know I have Monday morning, or just not drinking at all. You can make this as extreme as you want, but the fact is the more dialed in you are in your daily life, the more dialed in and disciplined you're going to be on the charts, and that's just a proven fact. Oh, and by the way, your trading plan includes lots of backtesting. You should be backtesting every single day, making it clearer and clearer, seeing your strategy play out over and over again, because the conviction in your trading plan is extremely important. Not only having the trading plan, but you need to build conviction in the trading plan so that you're able to actually follow it. Because if you don't have conviction, guess what's going to happen when you take a loss, when you take a series of losses? You're going to spiral and not believe in the plan and relying on the plan to get you back into profits. But by backtesting every day and seeing your trading strategy play out over and over and over again, it becomes like clockwork. You just know that as long as I follow this plan, things are going to work out. And that is the reframing in your mind you have to have, is that it doesn't matter what happens today. I just know if I have this great plan, if I have a self-management plan, a life management plan, and I have a very clear strategy that I trust, that things will work out. And that leads me into step 2, which is deep journaling. So once you've actually made your trade plan, you need to do some deep journaling on why are you struggling to follow it. Not just basic journaling like, oh, I entered here today and I exited here and I took a loss today. But I'm talking deep journaling of what does this loss mean to me? What was the actual beliefs and reasons why I entered this trade? Why did I spiral today? What was it different about today than the other day when I didn't spiral? And this is a free writing exercise. You just sit down and write and write and write pages and pages to really identify what is your personal psychology that's holding you back. So going deep into what's actually driving your behavior, because there's usually reasons why you do things. So in the beginning of your trading career, if you had a big oversized win because you were oversized, this associated lots of pleasure and positivity with oversizing. Now you have this deep ingrained belief that, okay, if I oversize, I'm going to make more money. Because look what happened when I first started trading, right? So by writing all this stuff down, things start to pop out. Little beliefs, little ways that you think. And you need to identify all these things. So you need to do deep journaling every single time that you're falling off your plan. You need to really write down, okay, why? Why is this happening? So personally, I would recommend being kind of obsessive about it. Journaling before and after every single session. And I know this can seem excessive, but just by writing things out and getting clear on exactly what's going on, clarity of plan, clarity of your internal state, you start to have lots of clarity on what are the exact actions I need to wake up and do every single morning. And this ties into your trading plan. Journaling before and after every session is part of your trading plan. It's a rule that you put in place for yourself. All of this is made to help you uncover the why. Why do you do things? Not just, I tend to over leverage, I tend to over risk, but why do you tend to over leverage? Why do you tend to over risk? What are the beliefs driving that behavior? And by doing this deep journaling exercise before and after every single session, you're going to begin to notice patterns in your behavior. You're going to begin to notice patterns in your thought and in the things that you're constantly writing out. So notice things that are repeating over and over again, and then continue to dig deep into why it's actually happening. Now this leads me into the third step, which is staying calm in the actual moment of trading, and that relates to meditation. So I'm going to do a brief overview of what meditation is and how to do it, because I actually meditate while I'm trading. I'm always in a state of meditation, because meditation is all about grounding yourself and centering yourself. And if you're not grounded and centered while you're trading, if you're all over the place, willy-nilly following your thoughts and doing random actions, letting your emotions take over, then guess what it's going to lead to? A lot of freaking problems. So you can start with grounding yourself into your body and into your present moment experience. By removing your awareness from constantly following your thoughts and being interested in your thoughts, and take your awareness and put it onto the body, put it onto your present moment experience. Feel your body in the chair. Notice the sensation of your arms and legs. Be present with the charts. Be right there with the charts, just watching with no distractions. Once you start to ground yourself, start observing, what is the mind doing? Is it overactive? Is it quiet? Is it scared for the trading day? Is it anticipation of catching a big move? What are the exact things that it's telling me? Before you're about to enter a trade, be aware in that moment, what is the mind telling me? What is the reason why I'm entering this trade? Does this fit my previous trading plan? Or am I taking this trade because I'm bored? Because I want excitement? Because I'm tilted? Because I'm tired? There's all kinds of other reasons why you take a trade that are out of your trading plan. So basically what meditation is just observing. It's being grounded in this present moment and noticing the thoughts coming and going without being attached to them, without identifying with them and following them wherever they want you to go. So what this observation and meditation does is it builds a buffer zone in between the stimulus, which is a thought or emotion that wants you to take a behavior, and your actual response, you actually going and taking that action. You get a little bit of space in between that, and now you're not just immediately clicking a button upon thinking a thought. Because the mind is very sneaky and it makes up stories of why you should be in a trade. Oh, you should enter this because look, it just dumped and it's definitely going to these lows. Okay, but it's not even part of your plan. It's not even part of originally what you had wrote down on paper that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So you really need to notice that urge, because the mind is always going to have that urge to get into a trade. It's one click away from getting that excitement and from getting that dopamine rush. And so the animalistic brain is always just going to want to enter a trade and put risk on the table because it's exciting and it doesn't like to sit and be bored. So you need to be very aware of this. Once you have this deep understanding of the way your ego works and the way your mind works to hold you back and sabotage you, you can begin to notice it in the moment and just pat it on the head and say, look, I know you want to take a trade right now, but we've committed to following our plan and that's what we're going to do. Because I know I'm going to be successful if I follow my plan, and I know it will be extremely painful if I don't follow my plan. So this leads me into step 4, which is you need to be detached from the outcome and focused on the process. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times before. But what is the part of you that is attached to the outcome? It is your ego. Your ego wants success now. Your ego wants to be right. It doesn't want to be wrong, right? So the thoughts freak out when you're wrong. The thoughts freak out when you take a loss. They can't handle it. That's why this previous work of, first of all, being clear on your plan, having management skills in place, deep journaling to identify your own personal triggers and your own personal beliefs driving behavior, and then the deep understanding of you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness, so that you can detach from this part of yourself that is overly attached to every single outcome. Because it's not awareness that's attached to the outcome. Awareness is open, observing, neutral. It is your ego that says, we need this trade to be right, or we need to have a good day today. We need to take a payout by the end of the week. The ego is one that makes up expectations and is not detached. Also, your size should be that where one single trade should not be important to you. If one trade is important to you and is making you emotional and is making the ego freak out, then you are oversized. If one trade feels exciting, you're oversized. You should have your risk management and sizing to a place where one single trade has little to no emotional effect on you. I always know my sizing is correct when I enter a trade and I can go make a coffee, I can go for a walk, I go to the grocery store. I almost forget that I'm even in a trade. This is being focused on the process. I place my stop loss, I place my target, I have a clear strategy, and my sizing is to that it doesn't make me emotional. I'm not sitting at the charts watching every single candle print. And I mean, why did you get into this in the first place? It's for freedom. Why do you want to sit there and watch every single candle print? This is what oversizing does, though. If you are oversized, you can't walk away from the chart. Because you're like, oh, what if it goes against me? Okay, what if it does? If your sizing is in place and you trust your strategy, you've built that conviction and that trust, things are clear to you, then what's the big deal if it goes against you? What's the big deal if it stops you out? It's not that big of a deal. So yes, you have to use low size, but you can always scale up in the future. Once you have built that trust in yourself, once you have built that consistency with your plan and with your trading, you can always scale up. It's just not an exciting scale up. It's not going from, okay, I'm doing 3 micros to all of a sudden doing 3 minis. You go from, okay, this is kind of boring, to holy crap, I'm swinging up and down by thousands of dollars. And it's amazing the amount of people who know this information but still can't implement this. So you need to be very aware of how much your brain just wants excitement, and it wants that gambler's rush. So step 5, to combat this, you need to put in some deep inner work. And this inner work is what we've been talking about in this video. Meditation, being aware of your thoughts, growing in that awareness. Not constantly following your thoughts where they want you to go. Emotional work, dealing with your painful feelings. Dealing with emotions as they arise in the charts by accepting and allowing them and openly observing them without being reactive. This means when you get that emotion, when you get that thought to oversize and to be a gambler, you notice it in that moment and you choose not to follow it. This is huge, but it takes a long time to build. And I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff in these videos over and over again because you need to hear it in many different ways and it needs to be beaten into your brain. Because to me, this is the essential work you need to do to gain self-mastery. Without this deep awareness and without understanding this about your thoughts and your emotions, then you are carried around like a puppet. Your emotions overflow, your thoughts overflow. Before you know it, you have completely lost yourself and you forgot about following the process. You forgot that you're not supposed to revenge trade. you forgot you're supposed to walk away when you're tilted. Because what happens is you get tunnel vision in that moment. You lose your center of awareness. You lose all the things you told yourself you were going to do. And your emotions and thoughts take you over. And they get you to do what they want you to do, which is never aligned with good trading. So this deep inner work includes those things, and it also includes subconscious work. By doing the deep journaling and being deeply aware of your thoughts, you begin to notice limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts, limiting stories, and you can start to reprogram your subconscious mind. So the way the brain works is you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is running the show. It is running 98% of your behaviors and actions. So going back to our original example, if you oversized when you were new and hit a trade out of the park, made a lot of money, that put a belief in your head that oversizing means good. Oversizing means money. This gets implanted into this subconscious mind, which means below the conscious level. So you're not even aware that you're holding these beliefs or that they're running the show. So they get implanted in there, and now they're driving your behavior in the markets. So you wonder, okay, why do I say I'm going to follow my plan, and then I do something completely opposite of that? It's because of your emotions, your ego, aka your thoughts, and also your subconscious beliefs that are all working against you to keep you from following a set plan. So begin to recognize, okay, what false beliefs am I holding? What negativity am I holding on to? And you do this by deep journaling, constantly watching your mind, and then you begin to reprogram your identity. How do you actually see yourself? This is how you talk to yourself on a daily basis. You need to be so aware when you're going into a negative spiral. When you take a loss and your mind goes, of course I took a loss today. I suck. I'm a terrible trader. Boom, you notice that in the moment and you go, I'm a great trader. I follow the process. This loss is part of the process. You've now reframed your thoughts to think in a positive way and to put yourself in a positive light. And by doing this, you begin to see yourself more positively. Reframe every negative thought you think about trading into I'm a disciplined trader, so losses don't affect me. Into I'm calm and emotionally unreactive, so it's easy for me to take a loss and move on. And when you start to think like this, when you start to think positive thoughts, and when you start to reframe the way you think about things, your actions and behavior will match how you're thinking. And this will reinforce your positive beliefs. This is how you start to reprogram the subconscious mind. You start to see it in action. As you tell yourself you're disciplined, you take disciplined actions, and then this reinforces the fact that you're disciplined. And eventually your whole self-identity will be, I'm someone who never falls off their plan. And if I do, I quickly get back on track. Now, when you do fall off your plan, you're going to feel a massive amount of resistance towards that. Because you're the type of person who doesn't fall off their plan. If your self-identity was that of, I'm a type of trader who falls off my plan and is not disciplined, then it's pretty low resistance place to go to fall off your plan. You'll just be like, yeah, I'm that type of person anyway. It's not that big of a deal. This is how I am. You say those things to yourself, and you give yourself permission to go off your plan and do the wrong things. Rather than if you see yourself as I'm dialed in, then guess what? When you start to go off your plan, your entire body is going to seize up and it's going to be like, no, this is not who we are. This is not what we do. And it's going to choose the right course of action in that moment.